Welcome back to another architecture video, and today we're talking about interconnected floor spaces. And you might be saying, what the hell is an interconnected floor space? Well, here it is right here. This is taken from the Vancouver Building Code, the 2019 version. An interconnected floor space means superimposed floor areas or parts of floor areas in which floor assemblies that are required to be fire separations are penetrated by openings that are not provided with closures. Well, what the hell does that mean? Well, here's a good example. This is a new building. This is the, I think it's like a BMO training center. It's by Zeidler. We should give them a shout out. I don't know if I'm Zeidler Architects. Hopefully I spelled that right. And they made this. It's a nice looking building. I think it just opened. It's in, I'm assuming it's downtown Toronto, but I don't actually know. And this is a really good example of an interconnected floor space, and kind of we can look at some of the tricky factors that you have to include with this kind of stuff too. And this typically happens in these kinds of buildings, like offices, office towers, multi-story projects. If you don't typically see this in a residential building, unless maybe you have a big atrium or something in the middle, or like a big hotel atrium. But this is a pretty common example. And so floor areas or parts of floor areas where assemblies that are required to be fire separations are penetrated by openings. So if you look at this, this is covering a handful of floors, right? We got floor 1 here. This is floor 2. We got 3. And we got 4 up here. So this is showing 4 floors. 1, 2, 3, 4. And each one of those floor assemblies, each one of these would be an assembly. Basically what that floor is made of. In this case, is probably concrete, could be timber, could be a combination, but that assembly and each one of these assemblies at all 4 of these floors needs a fire rating. Generally speaking, it'd be like a 1 hour rating or a 2 hour rating. We'll get into that another day, but basically saying all these floors need to have this fire rating, except they're being penetrated by an opening that's not covered with a closure. And that refers to this area here, which is wide open, right? So that's an opening in the floor area, an opening in your floor assembly. If this was a completely enclosed full slab floor, you wouldn't have that hole. You wouldn't have that interconnection. And the same thing then for, so that's at level 2. If we're looking at level 3, it's this kind of bigger area here that's all wide open, so that means it's interconnected with level 2 and level 1, and then you have the same thing up here on level 4, right? Can't see the hole opening, but like that is basically a hole in the floor at level 4. So you have level 4, level 3, level 2, and level 1 are all interconnected floors according to this definition. And what does that mean? Well, it just becomes really tricky from a building code and sort of fire and life safety perspective, because there's just extra precautions you have to take, because you can imagine this is more dangerous than if each one of these floors were just completely straight across and there was no hole. If you had a fire down here in level 1, it's got to go up through the stairs, it's got to find a hole or a crack to get through for the smoke to travel up into the other floors or burn through. But when it's wide open like this, it's pretty obvious. If you have a fire on level 1 and it's really burning, you're getting a lot of smoke, guess what? It can just travel to all 4 floors basically immediately, and you have a lot faster spread of fire and smoke, which is definitely more dangerous. So when you have these interconnected floor spaces or interconnected floors, there's a few things you have to do. I'm not going to run through them all because it's kind of depends on the project. There's a lot of nuance involved with this, but we can see some of the things that they did here. And here's a good example here. So we're on level 3, and you see this little, like, it's almost like an inverted upside down railing. It's a little glass baffle up here. And what that does is, it doesn't look like much, and it's not super obvious to the untrained eye. But if you have a fire on this level, level 3, say it starts right here on this desk, someone sets the chair on fire, I don't know, and it's burning, the smoke's traveling up, right? And it can't get out of this floor area until it builds up enough smoke that it comes down. That's probably like 18 inches, something like that. and it basically has to fill up that ceiling space before it can travel underneath and move up. So it just buys a little bit more time for the people in the building to get out safely, because you're basically containing the smoke, at least temporarily, on this third floor. I don't see that on the second floor, but it could be sort of hidden behind this. Maybe there's a bulkhead or another baffle down there. Another super obvious one is this up here. Again, very hidden, but you see some grills with some pretty serious looking fans kind of tucked in behind there. And I don't know for sure, but I would definitely bet that that is some kind of a smoke ventilation removal mechanical unit of some sort. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that stuff. But you can imagine, we talked about this before, say there's a big fire on the ground floor and that smoke is traveling up through this atrium space. If these are exhaust fans that kick on full blast in a fire situation, that's going to suck all the smoke out of this atrium. And then, you know, if smoke's coming from the third floor under that baffle, it's going to get sucked up. And the whole point of these is just to really, if when they kick on, they'll just suck all the air out of this atrium so that the smoke's not traveling to the more distant portions of the building, and it's kind of sucking everything up this, almost like a chimney. Think of it like that. So those are the super obvious ones. I don't know, was there anything else that caught my eye here? When you have these floor situations, obviously you have, you know, you can see the exits in the background. They're pointing, well, you can see an exit sign here. You can see an exit sign here. They're both pointing the same direction. So somewhere over to the right, there's an exit. But I mean, you need that in every building, so that's pretty simple. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to touch on interconnected floor spaces. I saw this photo and I thought this is a perfect example, and it can be a little tricky to understand what that means sometimes. So anyway, the next time you're sort of struggling with the building code and you don't know what something is, you know, shoot me a question. Let me know down below what's a building code or an architecture question you have, and we can answer it in one of the next videos. So shout out to Zeidler. This is a pretty cool looking building. Looks like it's state-of-the-art, brand new. Oh, here's one more. Actually, you know what? These rooms right here, it's not an obvious one, but like this one right here and this one down here, they're sealed off. These still probably are part of the interconnected floor, but they might not be. Because you can imagine the second floor, it probably travels all the way around. I doubt you'd have a fire separation, you know, separating this open office space from these, whatever, probably a closed office in there. But maybe you do, and then this would be potentially a fire separation, you know, some rated glazing, something like that. Might have some sprinklers on it. So that is potentially a way to deal with these interconnected floors as well. So anyway, that's a bit of an aside. I'll wrap it up there. Hopefully you enjoyed, you learned something. If you did, give it a thumbs up. We're going to do lots more of these architecture videos and keep trying to share my knowledge with you guys. So thanks for watching. Again, stick around if you like this kind of stuff, and we'll do more in the future. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.